Hi, today we're going to talk about why some houses seem to sell immediately while others sit and sit and sit on the market. Sometimes it can be as simple as one factor, other times it can be a multitude of things coming together that aren't helping the sale of your house. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ben Robitaille, and today we're talking about why some houses don't sell. So let's jump right into it. The first reason can be a little tough for sellers to digest, and it is price. And before sellers start jumping on here saying, oh, well, what about you as the realtor? You need to be doing your job. I'm gonna get to realtors because yeah, that can be a factor as well. And I'm gonna tell you the signs to watch out for. But more often than not in our market, unfortunately, it does come down to price. Now, there are a few considerations with price and a few signs that show you that price is actually the issue. The first surefire sign that price is a problem for you is that you're getting no showings at all. Now, yes, this could be another factor, but as long as your realtor's done everything the way they're supposed to, if you're not getting any showings, basically what's happening is the listing is showing up in the buyer's inbox. They're looking at the photos, looking at the price and saying, you know what, something really just isn't lining up here. It's not worth seeing, let's not see it. And yeah, this does spiral off into, it could be a few other issues. Maybe it's the photo's fault. Maybe the house isn't being presented the way it shows. Although this can be true in the opposite too, so you want to be careful here. But if you really want to confirm this, you can ask your agent to take you out to some comparable properties in your market. Now, depending on the market, there might be few and far between that actually compare to what you're selling. But if they're available, go see how you stack up against the competition, because if somebody's putting your house right up beside a house that's similar, at a similar price point, similar build, similar finishes, how are they going to choose between the two? Buyers are always looking for a deal, the same way sellers always want the best price. So it's important to know what you're up against and how you can adjust your strategy to stand out in any market. Now, if you are going out and seeing these comparables, the one word of caution I will say is you can list at whatever price you want. The important number is the selling price. If a home is listed at $999 and sells for $800,000, we don't care about the $999 number because it really plays no effect into what the market is doing or anything. What we care about is the $800,000 because that is market value. It's what a buyer and seller can agree upon. So even though you might go out and do all this other research with your realtor, take everything with a grain of salt and try and put it in perspective all inside the bigger picture. Now, another sign that the price might be a bit of a factor is you are getting some showings, but nobody's really looking to move forward with anything on your property. And a common thing that happens here is a buyer will go in, look at the house, look at some comparables with the realtor and say, you know what, I do like the house, but I think it's $100,000 overpriced. Instead of insulting the seller with an offer that low, usually what a buyer will do will be wait on the sidelines until the price eventually gets decreased to a point where they're comfortable giving you the offer at a price that they feel is reasonable. I'm gonna hit one more reason before I get on to the realtors. Another reason to keep in mind is the photographs. So while professional photography is pretty much standard in listings nowadays, there are some really good photographers out there. And to put it bluntly, they can make some not so great homes look amazing. Let's put ourselves in the buyer's shoes for a moment. Over 90% of buyers are gonna start looking at homes online before they ever show up in person. And even with my clients, I'm sending them all the listings online first, and then from that, they're picking which ones they want to go see. And so the reason why photos are so important is they make a first impression. And if that first impression is amazing, and then they walk in the door of your house and it doesn't live up to that impression, you're really starting the buyer off on the wrong foot because they're immediately let down when they walk in the door. So yes, good photos are important, but equally as important is keeping your house in a similar condition to when the photos were taken. And yes, life gets busy, life happens. I know mess is a natural part of life for most people, and that's fine. It's just getting the house as close to presentable as possible when that buyer's walking through the door. Now let's get to the realtors. So to understand if a realtor is working out, really it's personal preference to an extent, but I think it's also important to know what a realtor actually does to sell your home. Now, I would call the bare minimum and probably one of the most valuable parts of using a realtor versus selling on your own, if you choose to go that route, is access to the MLS system. So when a realtor gets a listing, they're going to take all the photos, they're going to take a description of the house, everything from type of roof, type of foundation, heating, cooling, sewer system, water type. Everything is going to go on that listing in a document that gets pushed out to every other realtor in the MLS board that they're a part of. In my case, being a Lakelands member, I know all the other 2,000 real estate members of the Lakelands board are going to see that listing. Sometimes what happens in our market, unfortunately, is we get agents from the city coming up this way to list properties, which is totally fine. As a salesperson in Ontario, you can buy or sell properties with clients anywhere in the province. The trouble we run into is sometimes agents from the city will take a listing, post it on the Toronto Real Estate Board, and us local agents who are not necessarily members of the Toronto Real Estate Board, some are, won't see that listing. So the majority of people who are doing the majority of business in the local area aren't actually aware that your listing exists. So if you are using an agent that's out of market, make sure the listing is getting posted on the appropriate board. Now, my personal take on realtors too is posting on the MLS board is a bare minimum requirement. Realtors, I think most people can agree, are fairly well compensated for the work they do, especially top producing realtors are putting a lot of work into getting houses sold properly. What good realtors are doing beyond just posting on the MLS system really matter in the sale of your house, because that could be the difference between finding the buyer and not finding a buyer. And personally, I like to break it down into two types of marketing. You have the old school methods and new school methods. And I really think a combination of both go a long way in selling your home. Some of the old school methods include door knocking, open houses, postcards, flyers, that kind of thing that has worked for years and years and years and really helps promote and sell the property, along with the new school things, because I can put a listing on my MLS board and send it out to 2,000 agents, or put it on the Toronto Real Estate Board and send it out to 55,000 agents, and I can push it out on Facebook for a couple dollars a day and have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 human beings see the listing, know that it exists, send it along to their friends, and really expose the property that way. So online is where most of the buyers are and start, so why not put it where they are? Now, one final thing I do want to mention, and this won't really contribute too much to the sale of your home, but as a seller, if you can be as flexible as possible with buyers within reason. You know, if you want to limit showings from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. so that, you know, you're home before 8, you know it's going to be fine, and you're home after 8, you know you don't have to leave the house for a showing. That's totally what I would think is in the realm of reason. But if you start denying showings because you don't want to leave the house for an hour so a buyer can come in, that's an issue. I would say if the case happens where somebody requests a showing and you have to be home, maybe you work from home and you've got a meeting during that time, suggest a time for them to come in that's as close to that original time as possible, and just do whatever you can to work with the buyer's agent to get them through the home and see what you have to offer. And before I go, little sales pitch, if you're thinking about selling in Simcoe County or anywhere in South Muskoka as well, I'd be happy to come out, do a free evaluation for you. You can actually click on the link in the description of this video, book the valuation. You don't even have to talk to me, and then I'll show up and do it for you. There's no cost for this. Happy to give you my input on market value. Or if you just want to talk real estate in general, same link, book a call with me. I'm happy to chat about what I think is going on in the market this year. Hope you found this video helpful. If you liked this video, please consider hitting that like button. And if you want to stay up to date on what's going on in the world of Canadian real estate, hit subscribe. We'd love to have you on the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.